Prizes worth over $210,000. Choose 2 electric vehicles or a private jet experience or $125,000 in cash. Or be one of 60 additional winners of tax-free cash. Win big and support VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation. Get tickets at MillionaireLottery.com or London Drugs.
19 plus to play. Know your limit. Play within it.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. 1130 News Radio.
6 degrees and partly cloudy in Vancouver. Good afternoon. I'm Maria Venka.
I'm John Ackerman. Here's what's happening right now.
Prime Minister has wrapped up a 90-minute meeting with the premiers today on U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's tariff threats. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the feds are working on retaliatory tariffs in response.
BC Seniors Advocate says the province is not keeping pace when it comes to providing critical and basic services for its older population.
And still ahead, a 68-year-old woman is in hospital with life-threatening injuries after being hit by a car in Vancouver over the weekend. It is now time for sports, and from Sports S650, the home of the Canucks, here's Ian Busby.
With all the adversity the Canucks have dealt with this season, they're looking at all the positives right now. After the overtime loss to the Blues last night, they're tied for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference, and now they're looking forward to the pending return of JT Miller, this coming after goalie Thatcher Demko made his season debut against the Blues. Head coach Rick Tocchet has been preaching sticking with the system regardless of who's in the lineup, although having some players back does bring a boost.
But I see improvement in the game management, but that's something we got to clean up, especially now that we don't have, at certain points, we didn't have Heroic, we didn't have Millsy, Besser at some times, so you got to stay with the team identity.
The Canucks back in action tomorrow night against the Florida Panthers. Puck drop at Rogers Arena at 7 o'clock. Just 2 games in the NHL today. The Rangers leading the Sabres 1-0. That one is late in the first period. And just getting going, the Ducks taking on the Senators. That one is scoreless in the first. The Whitecaps have locked up a pair of midfielders for next season, signing J.C. Nagando and Ralph Prizo to new contracts. Both deals have club options for 26 and 27. The Caps picked up Prizo, a 22-year-old Toronto FC Academy product, in a trade with the Colorado Rapids last February. They picked up the 25-year-old Nagando, 5th overall in the 2023 Super Draft. FIFA has announced the 2034 World Cup will be held in Saudi Arabia. That was the only country bidding on it. They also announced Spain, Portugal, and Morocco will co-host the 2030 World Cup, with Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay each getting one of the 104 games. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour anytime. Sportsnet.ca.
Sports is brought to you by The Hockey Shop in Langley.
Hi, it's Brendan Batchelor. If you have a hockey player to buy for on your Christmas list, you need to check out The Hockey Shop in Langley. Their expert staff have been busy getting their stick racks ready for gift-giving season, and they've got the best selection of Bauer sticks for you to put under the tree, like their newest stick, the Bauer Twitch. It's the ultimate gift for any hockey player. And at the top of every kid's wish list is the Bauer Mystery Mini Stick, and The Hockey Shop has them in stock now. The Hockey Shop in Langley, or online at thehockeyshop.com.
The federal by-election in Cloverdale, Langley City is on Monday, December 16th. Are you planning to vote? Polls are open from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Visit elections.ca to find out where to vote. Don't forget to bring accepted ID. If you're not registered to vote, you can register at your assigned polling station. For the official information you need to vote, visit elections.ca or call 1-800-463-6868. It's our vote.
11:30 news time. It is now 4:48. Police are seeking witnesses or dash cam footage of a hit and run involving a pedestrian this morning at Canada Way and Burris in Burnaby. A 64-year-old woman was crossing the street when a vehicle turning left failed to yield and hit her. She suffered minor injuries. Vancouver police are investigating a crash that left a pedestrian with life-altering injuries that happened just after 8:30 on Saturday morning near Cambie and West 57th. The 68-year-old woman was struck by the driver of a black GMC Sierra. Police are asking anyone who saw what happened or who has dashcam footage to get in touch. A man has been arrested in connection with a series of sexual assaults in the Tri-Cities. Coquitlam RCMP say the man was taken into custody about a week after the first reports started coming in about a man grabbing women's rear ends. Several of the incidents happened in Burquitlam, while the other 2 took place in Glen Park off Pipeline Road. 11:30 news time. It is now 4:49. Good news for stargazers this weekend. The Geminid meteor shower is set to see its yearly peak Friday and Saturday night. Dr. Rosanna Tilbrook is an astronomer with the H.R. Macmillan Space Center. She says you could see upwards of 115 meteors every hour if you're in the right place.
For the best chance of seeing those lovely sharp meteor trails, you want to go kind of a little bit outside of the city. So some possible areas around Vancouver would be like Spanish Banks, Porto Cove.
However, we are expecting some cloudy skies this weekend, which could limit your ability to see the meteors, but the shower will continue throughout most of the rest of the month, so you should be able to spot some shooting stars on a clear night. Coming up in 60 seconds, another check of your traffic and weather together on the ones. Darren Grieve in the Air Patrol is flying high above the Port Mann Bridge. It's 4:50.
On your radio, on the all-new Seeker app, and on your smart speaker by asking it to play. 1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
Experience the magic of the holiday season in Surrey. There's something for everyone, from sparkling light displays to festive holiday events. And if you're looking for a bite to eat, explore Discover Surrey's Spice Trail. From popular street food to exquisite fine dining, the Spice Trail has over 60 delicious and authentic options to choose from, earning Surrey a spot in Food and Wine magazine's list of the world's next great food cities. Visit discoversurreybc.com to plan your visit and make this season unforgettable.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
People sometimes ask, sure, you can consolidate people's debts using telekinesis, but what else can you do? As if changing lives isn't enough. Well, I can also use my power to make it rain hot dogs. It's still not as cool as consolidating debts into one easy payment, though.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
4:51, back up to the 11:30 News Radio. Air Patrol, how's the Port Mann Bridge, Darren?
It's still the same, very busy. We have this broken down semi-eastbound highway one just partway up Johnson Hill, blocking the right through lane. A mechanic is apparently on its way, but it's going to take some time for sure. So this could be the commute for the afternoon. Very slow, right across the bridge, all the way through the Burnaby Lake stretch, right back through the Cassiar to the Ironworkers. At the North Shore, you're slow from Westview straight down the cut. Now Alex Kerrigan.
Thanks, Darren. It's still pretty busy over at the Alex Fraser as well. Just merge issues getting onto it. 91 eastbound merging onto the bridge southbound. Queensboro connector, not that bad working way towards the Alex Fraser. It's that bad working way towards the Queensboro, though. Northbound delays, of course, are usually what we report on, and that's what we're talking about today. Southbound, you're a little slow, 99. Once you merge onto the 91, or on the 91, merging onto 99. Trying to get yourself into South Surrey after the Alex Fraser Bridge, that merge is a little slow. Even if you try to get yourself over to Highway 10, that seems a bit tricky as well. Northbound delay south end of the Massey Tunnel, just volume here. Over at the Knight and Oak Street bridges, it is getting easier coming northbound, but southbound, there's a lot of traffic trying to go home through Vancouver. So both Knight and Oak Streets are slow from about 49th Avenue as of right now. Oh, and big delays through Surrey as well. Remember the Fraser Highway's got some ongoing SkyTrain construction going on. So you're going to be down to one lane for large portions of it, right around 168th between 176 and 184. And over at 64th Avenue, expect some delays. Anything else? Star 1130 is the number to call. Leon's Ho Ho Hold the Payments event is on now, right now. Pay nothing until 2026 with no money down and no interest OAC. Visit leons.ca for details. Over to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. It's meteorologist Carl Lamb.
So we're high temperature for today, 8 degrees, and we will have a bit of a breeze out of the east, around 20 kilometers per hour, but some of those gusts could be a little stronger as you get closer to the water, but 2 degrees will be the low tonight with partly cloudy conditions. For tomorrow, there could be some sun early, but it's really just a cloudy day, and rain showers start to creep in the afternoon and evening. It's pretty light for Thursday with a high of 6 and a low of 5. And then for Friday, some steadier rain on the way, windy and a high of 7, and then still rain for Saturday and 9.
Weather is brought to you by Duick Auto Group. Looking for an electric vehicle? Duick Auto Group has the largest selection of EVs on the lot. Test drive yours today. Duick Auto Group, where your electric future begins. 3 locations in DuickAutoGroup.com.
Coming up at the top of the hour, the Prime Minister has wrapped up a 90-minute meeting with the premiers today on the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's tariff threats. Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the feds are working on retaliatory tariffs in response. So we'll have those details and our other top stories coming up at 5 o'clock. 11:30 news time, it's 4:54. The Bank of Canada has lowered its key interest rate to 3.25%. But the central bank has signaled a slower pace of rate cuts moving forward, with inflation back at the 2% target. Brian Yu is the chief economist at Central One Credit Union. He says it's not necessarily amazing news for people looking to buy a home because prices have stayed fairly high.
Affordability, it's not great. We are seeing rates come off, but still high prices. But there will be more buyers coming into the market, and that does put the risk that prices start to march back up into 2025.
He does admit that Canada could see damage to the economy if Trump's move ahead with his tariff threats. This decision marks the 5th consecutive reduction since June. The gun found on the suspect in the killing of United Healthcare's CEO matches shell casings found at the site of the shooting, according to police. Here is NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
We got the gun in question back from Pennsylvania. It's now at the NYPD crime lab. We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
Luigi Mangione, the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, is being held without bail in Pennsylvania, awaiting extradition back to New York City. Back in our province, the BC Highway Patrol is recommending charges against a suspected drunk driver. He was behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. He was arrested Monday afternoon following reports of a semi-truck and trailer being driven recklessly along the Maryhill bypass, then Industrial Drive in Port Coquitlam. Mounties say at least 4 parked cars were also hit by the big rig. A 42-year-old man faces several charges, including impaired driving. The semi-truck was impounded for 24 hours. The holidays are fast approaching, and at a time when so much emphasis is put on gathering and celebrating, our Shilpa Downton is hearing grief and loneliness can feel especially heavy.
According to Lisa McIsaac with the Calgary Counseling Centre, that feeling of isolation can take its toll on our mental health. And she strongly recommends finding creative ways to make new connections.
There's community and service, and I think that there's lots of opportunities in the city throughout the year at the food bank or church groups or community organizations and agencies.
She says it's important to do things at your own pace and make mental well-being the number one priority.
Feelings of loneliness and those challenges are temporary. So hang in there and reach out to connect with people because you matter.
I'm Shilpa Downton.
Your business news is up next.
Avoid traffic problems before you get there.
Ask your smart speaker to play 1130 News Radio Vancouver.
Earnings in from Adobe after the closing bell, and fourth quarter adjusted earnings per share did work out to $4.81. That was better than expected. The forecast, though, did fall short of expectations. On Wall Street, a record high on the NASDAQ. It was up by 347, closing above 20,000 for the first time. The S&P up 49. The Dow was down 99. The Bank of Canada ending 2024 with a bang, a 50 basis point cut in its final interest rate announcement of the year. The Canadian dollar a little higher today, finishing at about 70.5 cents U.S., while Bay Street was on the plus side for the first time this week, up by 153 points, 25,657. Now, shares in Dollarama today finishing higher by about 0.2%. The stock got at least one downgrade today after a Quebec court approved a settlement and a class action lawsuit launched against the retailer over the company's use of eco fees. Now, retailers like Dollarama charge environmental handling fees on items like electronics, light bulbs, batteries, and toys to aid in the cost of recycling. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Look closely, and you can see Christmas laughing joyously as she peeks over the horizon. She will be here before you know it.
Sarah, tell them. You promised me you would tell them.
There is a person in your life that you love.
That's right.
I've designed a diamond pendant. It's called The Road We Travel.
If you don't say it, I'm going to say it for you.
I want you to buy one this Christmas for your traveling companion.
Hooray! You did it!
It's a 3-dimensional Mobius circle with 10 created diamonds.
Trace your finger along that golden road and you will travel all the way around the front and the back of the pendant without ever lifting your finger. It's a miracle, just like your relationship.
We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time.
The solid gold road we travel is just $1.99 at Spence Diamonds. Or buy it with larger diamonds for just $2.99. Spence. Wow! Open late in Vancouver and Langley.
No more.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather.
1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
This is CKWX 1130 News Radio Vancouver, broadcasting live on the traditional unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. Shrishti Gundev produces the afternoon drive show. Terry Shintz is our news director. 1130 News Time, 5 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
Good afternoon. This is Wednesday, December 11th. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Ackerman.
And I'm Maria Vinca. 5 degrees, mainly clear skies in Vancouver. Here's what's happening right now.
The federal government says a border plan will be unveiled in the coming days. This after a meeting between the Prime Minister and premiers amid President Trump's tariff threats.
The BCCLA pleads there's going to be a public hearing into the conduct of police officers involved with Miles Gray's death in Vancouver. They say this is an important step towards accountability.
BC Senior Advocate is calling on the government to invest in lagging senior services, saying the province is moving backwards in some key areas such as long-term care.
And Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims' motion to make the city more Bitcoin-friendly has passed today.
JT Miller at practice for the Canucks today. We're still not sure if he's going to play tomorrow, but Derek Forbort is a stronger possibility to line up against the defending champs. We'll get into that and more coming up in sports at 15.
The TSX jumps by more than 100 points in its first winning session this week. While the NASDAQ hit 20,000 for the first time, it's up by more than 300 points. Business at 26.
It is 5:01.
Up we go to the 1130 News Radio Air Patrol, still doing laps around the Port Mann as Darren Grieve.
Yeah, getting a bit busy here looking out this window, John, but we do have this broken down semi-eastbound partway up Johnson Hill in the right through lane. Mechanic and a truck is showing up here to try and get this thing rolling, but it's been here for about 90 minutes or maybe more now, so the delays are absolutely nuts all the way back to the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge. So if you can avoid the Burnaby Lake stretch, probably a good idea. I don't know what route, there's multiple routes you could take, but you have to figure that out, Low Heat Highway or maybe through Burnaby and New West, but this Burnaby Lake stretch is no fun at all. And now Alex Kerrigan.
It's a lot more fun on the Alice Fraser Bridge right now. You may be seeing a few delays getting onto it, but there's no issue in your way. Just a little slow through here. Slowdowns on the 91A. They're, kind of on par for today. You're getting pushed back past the east-west connector, and you are going to be slow about Westminster Highway leading up to the 91A, but if you get yourself to the Alice Fraser Bridge, you're having a good time. Northbound delays at the south end of the Massey Tunnel. Only one lane in your favor here. Southbound is wide open through Richmond with the extra lane. Over at the Knight and Oak Street bridges. Right now, the Knight Street Bridge is looking a lot better. I know there's northbound delays at the south end and Knight Street southbound getting pushed up to about 53rd Avenue. But on the other side of things, we got the Oak Street Bridge busy from the Bridgeport merge all the way on, and then southbound, you were getting pushed up north of 49th Avenue. Anything else going on, star 1130 is a number to call. Make sure you keep it safe and hands-free. Pound 1130 also works. Your traffic's by Shannon Oaks. Discover the perfect blend of luxury and home today with Shannon Oaks Vancouver, where grace meets comfort. For more information, head to shannonOaks.com. To the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center now. We check in with meteorologist Carl Lamb.
Well, we will have some sunshine throughout the day, but by tonight, we'll have partly cloudy conditions across Metro Vancouver. Temperatures will max out at about 8 degrees today and then drop down to an overnight low of 2 degrees. What you will notice is that it is a little breezier, especially by the water for tonight, but we are not expecting much fog to develop.
And right now we're at 5 degrees. 11:30 news time. It is 5:03.
1130 News Radio. Developing story.
Well, the Prime Minister wrapping up his phone call with the premiers, vowing to soon reveal Ottawa's plan to strengthen our border.
Our Cormac McSweeney reports it comes amid the tariff threats made by incoming U.S. President Donald Trump.
We are taking a Team Canada approach.
Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland calls the meeting constructive, while Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc says premiers are helping put the final touches on their border plan, which will reportedly cost about $1 billion.
And then obviously a priority will be to share details of this plan with the incoming Trump administration and with Canadians in the coming days.
He hints some elements could be included in Monday's economic update. President Trump is vowing a 25% tariff on Canadian goods if we don't stop the flow of drugs and migrants into the U.S., even though our border is only responsible for a fraction of that problem. Freeland adds premiers are also helping compile the list of retaliatory tariffs if Trump follows through on his threat. She didn't reveal much about the items, but notes metals and critical minerals are on the list. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the feds are working on retaliatory tariffs in response to Donald Trump's trade threats. Ford says both the feds and the provinces are coming up with suggestions for how Canada could respond. He's also threatened to withhold his province's energy, which it exports to 5 states. We have reached out to BC Premier David Eby for a proper response from British Columbia to the tariff threat, and they are not commenting on that matter today.
The Office of the Police Complaints Commissioner is launching a public hearing to look into alleged misconduct by 7 Vancouver police officers in the 2015 death of Miles Gray. 11:30 Srushti Gundev reports the 33-year-old died after the VPD responded to a 911 call about a man who had been acting erratically.
In October, the police chief for a separate police department conducting a disciplinary process found the officers didn't commit misconduct, but also noted the framework for discipline proceedings limits the testing of evidence and said there were discrepancies in statements made by members that couldn't be cross-examined. Megan McDermott with the BC Civil Liberties Association says the public hearing is an important step to correct those discrepancies in the public record.
It makes us wonder about how many more cases there's been an authority put in that position where they think maybe something is awry, but because they're unable to do cross-examinations or get more evidence, that their hands are tied.
This hearing will be open to the public, and Gray's family and other parties might be called to participate. Dates for the hearing have not been set yet. I'm Srushti Gundev.
Police in Westminster say a 30-year-old man is facing charges after an alleged triple stabbing in that city in late October. It happened just after midnight, October 26th, at the Starlight Casino. The USPD says it happened after a fight broke out between 2 groups sitting on the restaurant patio. All 3 victims were taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Parmveer Singh Sahota has now been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assaults.
11:30 news time. It is now 5:06. We're at 5 degrees and mainly clear skies in Vancouver. Seniors in BC are struggling with access to healthcare, financial supports, and other services. That is according to an advocate's report that finds the province isn't keeping pace with an aging population.
Dan Levitt is the BC Seniors Advocate. He says the seniors population is increasing, but services just aren't keeping up.
We are not even maintaining service levels year over year. In fact, they're getting worse.
Levitt points to lagging long-term care, home care support, healthcare requirements such as surgery wait times, and financial support.
6,500 people are waiting for long-term care. That's a 150% increase over 5 years.
The Seniors Advocate is calling on the government to invest in the things that make the biggest difference to seniors, especially long-term care wait times. I'm Michelle Meiklejohn.
Vancouver City Council set to be a busy affair tonight with many speakers lined up to share their thoughts on the controversial Broadway plan. Council agreed to push the item to the end of today's agenda to make time for everything else. A staff report says 139 development projects are already in the pipeline, but some are calling for the plan to be paused. Housing Minister Ravi Kahlon believes it should continue with the appropriate public engagement, but admits the current public discourse is skewed against development.
Those that need the housing don't have the time to show up at the public hearings. They're often working 2 jobs or they're students. And so we need to weigh both those things in. I'm sure the City of Vancouver will do that, but keeping the protections for renters that may be displaced is vital.
Critics say the high rises are too tall and the plan will change neighborhoods along the subway line too much.
Mayor Ken Sim's motion to make Vancouver a Bitcoin-friendly city has passed. It called for the city to accept taxes and fees in cryptocurrency. And the mayor was so enthusiastic about the news, he made this pledge.
Myself and my family believe in this so much. Our family's going to donate $10,000 to the city of Vancouver in the form of Bitcoin.
Sim hopes Vancouver embracing Bitcoin will bolster its reputation as a tech hub. Other city councillors raise concerns about money laundering, volatility, and environmental impacts.
And the much-loved East Van Cross could be finding a new home soon. The Vancouver City Council approving a motion to look at moving the monument today. Councillor Mike Clausen says there's always been visibility issues with the sign's current location, and it may be eclipsed entirely when a neighbouring development is complete. He wants to create a viewing space that would have services and amenities nearby, which could be reinvested into maintaining the cross.
We're talking about a destination that potentially will draw, locals and visitors for decades to come.
And not to worry, Claassen promises the cross will stay in East Van. Up next, the Ferry Report.
It's 5:09.
Vancouver's trusted news. 1130 News Radio.
Dashing through the aisles, your meals are gonna sway. We'll match every flyer, save on wings today. Stack up on shrimp rings, your cheese board will delight. What fun it is to grocery shop when you're getting the best price. Oh, dinner bells, dinner all the way. Oh, what fun it is to shop when you're getting extra savings.
We'll price match any flyer to make your holiday sing. Save on foods, giving you extra.
And now the 1130 News Radio Ferry Report with Alex Kerrigan.
Thank you very much, John. Tsawwassen to Swartz Bay ticketing the 7 o'clock right now. That thing is 65% sold. Tsawwassen to Duke Point, 545 still in the dock at 70% sold. And Horseshoe Bay to Departure Bay, 635 also in the dock. But it's got a ways to go. It is 41% sold. You can double check all the ferries anytime you need them. We keep them online for free at vancouver.citynews.ca/traffic.
In a minute, another check of traffic and weather together on the ones. Darren Grieve updating us on the Portman Bridge. It's 5:10.
This hour of City News is brought to you by Global Carpets and Hardwoods, the world at your feet.
From right here in Canada to all four corners of the world, the good folks at Global Carpets and Hardwoods bring the best flooring from around the globe home to Vancouver. Global Carpets have all the top flooring brands in stock and ready to go. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, carpet, area rugs, and more. With speedy and professional installation available. Just head to the Globe at Marine and Heather or visit globalcarpets.ca.
Global Carpets and Hardwoods, the world at your feet.
Stephen Curtis here from Willowbrook Chrysler. Curtis, did you hear the news?
Did I ever, Steve? Willowbrook Chrysler is the #1 volume dealer in Canada.
You bet. We outsold every Chrysler dealer in Canada in November. We're #1 across the country, man.
Hot diggity dog, that's amazing.
Our customers get the lowest prices. That's how we did it. And the highest appraisals.
From Newfoundland to Tofino, Canada-wide, all 7,500 kilometers of this country, and we're #1.
Get to Willowbrook Chrysler, where friends mean more than money.
It's 5:11. Up we go again to the 1130 News Radio Air Patrol. Any change on the Portman, Darren?
Unfortunately not, John. No, this broken down semi part way up Johnson Hill still has the right lane blocked. There's a mechanic on scene, so they're working on it, trying to get it going again, but they haven't fixed it yet. So volume's super heavy, backed right across the bridge, all the way back through the Cassiar Tunnel, right to the ironworkers, and the upper levels is heavy from Westview. So big delays. And now Alex Kerrigan.
Thanks, Darren. It's not that bad for the Alex Fraser anymore. Northbound delays south end of the Queensboroughs tend to stick around, though. Northbound delays at the south end of the Massey, of course, they stick around, and northbound is quite slow over at the Knight Street Bridge, and I gotta say, I'm a little impressed with the Oak Street Bridge northbound, not southbound. Southbound, you're coming out of Vancouver, you're still quite slow on Oak Street from 49th all the way down. Knight Street also slow from 49th all the way down. I wanted to jet over to Surrey, though, because Highway 10 eastbound, very busy in front of 168th, getting pushed back to 152nd. Detour route away from this one. North of that is 64th Avenue. South of that, kind of hard to see. I don't like the look of 40th Avenue. It's Farm Road. We don't want to send a lot of traffic down there, so 64th Avenue instead. If there is anything else going on, star 1130 is the number to call. Make sure that you are doing it safe and hands-free, though. Traffic is brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Don't miss the action. The Giants host the Victoria Royals December 14th. Puck drop at 7 at Langley Event Center. Giants.com/tickets. Over to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center now. We check in with meteorologist Carl Lamb.
For the rest of the day today, we do have temperatures getting up to about 8 degrees. We will have an easterly wind around 20 kilometers per hour. It could be a little bit gustier by the water, but all in all, pretty calm and quiet for tonight, partly cloudy, down to a low of 2 degrees. Then for tomorrow, we are bringing in some cloudy conditions and also the chance for a few rain showers, especially as we go through the afternoon and evening, with a high of 6 degrees and a low of 5.
And right now in Vancouver, mainly clear and 5 degrees. Up next in sports with Marcus Fitzgerald. Marcus, just 2 games on the NHL sched tonight. The Canucks back at it tomorrow.
Indeed, and they'll face the defending Stanley Cup champions, John. Are we going to see JT Miller? Maybe. You're going to hear from head coach Rick Tocchet coming up in just a minute.
When you lose your hair, it can feel like a part of you fades with it. Hassan and Wong can help. They specialize in hair restoration. with a quarter-century of experience helping patients from all over the world. Hassan and Wong aim for the best results without pushing fads. They use what works for a more permanent solution. Want to know more? Go to HassanandWong.com for your free online assessment.
Why do I love getting my last-minute gifts at Shoppers Drug Mart? Well, lots of stores, many open late, great selection of gifts, and let's not forget the PC Optimum points. I get gifts for them and points for me, and so can you. Go to Shoppers. Exclusions apply.
Buy gifts with MasterCard Click to Pay faster than your family can unwrap them. Get 4% CT money when you use your Triangle MasterCard on qualifying purchases at Canadian Tire, Sport Chek, and Marks. Conditions apply to collecting CT money. Visit triangle.com for details.
Vancouver's trusted news. 1130 News Radio.
Clear skies, 5 degrees in Vancouver. Good afternoon. I'm John Ackerman.
And I'm Maria Venka. Here's what's happening right now.
The federal government working on retaliatory tariffs in response to the tariff threat from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. It follows a 90-minute phone call between the Prime Minister and the Premiers today.
The Office of the Police Complaints Commissioner has called a public hearing into the police-involved beating death of Miles Gray in 2015.
And still ahead.
There is something about Christmas time that can bring out stress and anxiety. How to navigate the mix of chaos and joy.
It's 5:15. That's time for sports from Sportsnet 650, your home of the Canucks. He knows all about chaos and joy. Hello, Marcus Fitzgerald.
I sure do at Christmas time, John. I've got ideas myself, but I'd get in trouble if I tell you about it now. Practice for the Canucks today. They lost last night in St. Louis. Florida Panthers are here tomorrow, so it's not going to be easy. They're only the Stanley Cup champions. Thatcher Demko is out there today. That's good. That means his body was feeling pretty good after making his first start last night. You know what? You saw last night. He had to make some big saves. That was the reason the Canucks got the single point anyway. Now, neither of Demko nor Miller spoke to the media today. Rick Tocchet did, though. Provided an update on Miller, and if we'll see him in the lineup tomorrow for the first time since the middle of last month.
I don't know. I mean, I usually talk to Millsy maybe tonight or something. Maybe in the morning we'll talk. But, anything is a possibility. But right now, he had a good day.
Yeah, they'll get to it. Tocchet did say it's a little more likely that defenseman Derek Forbort will get back in to help fortify the blue line. That'll be nice. 7 o'clock tomorrow. Just the two games tonight, as we mentioned a moment ago. Senators lead the Ducks 2-0 late in the first period. That's in the nation's capital. Sabres trail the Rangers at home 1-0 midway through the second period. And in football, some big news. Bill Belichick, remember him? New England Patriots, 20 years, won a lot of Super Bowls. He's getting back into the game. That'll be the head coach of the University of North Carolina. This move had been talked about for a bit, but it still seems a bit strange for Belichick to be going the college route. He's been reinventing himself a bit as a media personality this NFL season after he was not hired by an NFL team during the last coaching cycle. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, anytime. Sportsnet.ca/650.
It's Todd Talbot for the VGH Millionaire Lottery with big news about this year's Early Bird. Now with 61 prizes worth over $210,000. Choose 2 electric vehicles or a private jet experience or $125,000 in cash. Or be one of 60 additional winners of tax-free cash. Win big and support VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation. Order tickets online at MillionaireLottery.com.
19 plus to play. Know your limit. Play within it.
Your dream home doesn't need to be a dream. Hi, I'm Pip Dhaliwal, founder of Freedom Capital. You found the perfect parcel of land. You have the plans in hand. What you need now is the financing fast. Freedom Capital can help your dream home become a reality by leveraging the equity in your current home, even if the bank said you can't. We're Canada's only national brokerage that focuses on alternative financing. Apply now at freedomcapital.com.
You are listening to 1130 News Radio Vancouver. It's 5:18. Mounties are investigating a hit-and-run in Burnaby that has sent a 64-year-old pedestrian to the hospital. It happened on Canada Way and Burris at around 6:45 a.m. A woman had been crossing the street when a car turning left failed to yield and hit her. She suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone with information is asked to contact Burnaby RCMP. Vancouver police investigating a serious crash last weekend that sent a 68-year-old woman to the hospital with life-altering injuries. This happened at around 8:30 on Saturday morning. The woman had been crossing Cambie at West 57th when she was hit by the driver of a GMC Sierra. The VPD believes there was many pedestrians and a lot of vehicle traffic in the area at the time, and they're asking anyone with information or dash cam footage to get in touch. The BC Highway Patrol recommending charges against the driver of a semi-truck who slammed into 4 parked cars while allegedly driving impaired earlier this week. Police received calls Monday afternoon about a semi being driven erratically on the Maryhill bypass in Port Coquitlam. The 42-year-old driver is also facing a 90-day administrative driving prohibition and has had his driver's license seized. And an arrest has been made in connection to a series of sexual assaults in the Tri-Cities. Coquitlam RCMP investigating 9 reports where a man is alleged to have grabbed women as they walked, several of the incidents happening in Burquitlam, while a couple more were in the Glen Park area along Pipeline Road. In a minute, another check of traffic and weather together on the ones. Darren Grieve is in the Air Patrol updating us on the situation leading to and from the Port Mann Bridge. It's 5:20.
No more.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather.
1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
How about now?
Nope. But you can say late fall.
Instead of winter?
Oh, I'm still not ready for that.
But you should be. Hey, it's Jeff, owner of Turn 3 Autosport. Now's the time to get your vehicle ready for late fall.
Thank you.
Experience an exceptional alternative to the dealer and book your service appointment today. Our team's passion and commitment will have you wondering why you didn't visit us sooner.
Turn 3 Autosport, born out of a passion. In Langley and at turn3autosport.com.
Winter's here, and with it, snow and ice. But don't worry, Invictus Residential Snow Fighters are here. With their residential snow and ice removal services, you can step out each morning to a clear, safe driveway, paths, and stairs. No slipping, no shoveling, just peace of mind. The Invictus team will take care of it all, so you don't have to be concerned about snow and ice around your home. To arrange a worry-free winter with Invictus Residential Snow and Ice Removal, visit InvictusSnowfighters.com.
It's 5:21. Back up we go to the 1130 News Radio Air Patrol and Darren Grieve.
Still big delays at the Port Mann Bridge, John. This broken down semi partway up Johnson Hill eastbound has the right through lane blocked. There is a mechanic on scene trying to sort it out, but haven't made any progress just yet. So that volume is horrendous all the way through the Burnaby Lake stretch, right back through the Cassiar to the Ironworkers, and the upper levels is solid from Westview. And now Alex Kerrigan.
You got a call out of Poco about a stalled vehicle on Lougheed eastbound at Shaughnessy over in the left lane. It's it's a small thing in comparison to everything else going on. It's out there. Lougheed eastbound a little slow as you work your way up to Harris Road, and then Lougheed stays busy leading up to about Leahy Street. You're a little slow through the Wannock stretch, but as we refocus over for the Richmond to Delta connections, the Alex Fraser Bridge has had a great day. It's the Queensboro that's quite slow northbound leading up to the bridge deck. East-West Connector has also had a pretty great day today. Massey Tunnel, it's had its day. Northbound delays at the south end. It's down to 1 lane here, 3 lanes southbound out of Richmond. And heavy on Nice Street northbound leading up to Bridgeforth Merge. After that, it's fine. Heavy on Oak Street Bridge, the whole thing up to 70th Avenue. Southbound Oak Street push up to 49th Avenue. And Night Street slow from around 53rd Avenue. So night really is the better go right now. Anything else going on, star 1130 is the number to call. 50 or over. Ask your doctor, nurse, or pharmacist if vaccination for pneumococcal pneumonia with Prevnar 20 is right for you. Learn more at Prevnar20.ca. We're in the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center now. Here's meteorologist Carl Lamb.
We do have a bit of a breeze today. Gusts are a little stronger by the water, too, but all in all, 8 degrees for the high, still above average for this time of year. And then tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 2. Then for tomorrow, we'll have some sun early, but then the clouds really thicken up, and it's the chance for some showers later in the day, a high of 6 and a low of 5. Then some steadier rain comes on Friday, and we could get 10 to 20 millimeters worth, and windier, cloudy with a high of 7, and then rain continues into Saturday with a high of 9.
Now, weather's by Wild Birds Unlimited in Vancouver and North Vancouver. Turn your backyard into a beautiful symphony of nature. Visit Wild Birds Unlimited today in Vancouver and North Vancouver.
Coming up, the federal government working on retaliatory tariffs in response to a threat from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. It follows a 90-minute phone call between the Prime Minister and the Premiers this afternoon. Those details and our other top stories coming up at 5:30. 11:30 news time now, 5:23. The Bank of Canada cutting its key interest rate by another 0.5 percentage point, saying inflation is back to the 2% target and lower interest rates are beginning to pass through to stronger spending. Brian Yu is the chief economist at Central One Credit Union. He says it's going to help home buyers hoping to get into the market, but prices remain high across our region. And there are signs of some economic headwinds ahead as well.
They did reference quite a bit about the economy slowing a little bit more than expected. We had only 1% growth in the third quarter and probably lower growth or weaker growth continuing through the fourth quarter.
Yu says there's also a bit of economic anxiety on the subject of Donald Trump's tariff threats. He says the bank is likely hoping the lower borrowing rates will spur the economy upwards. The central bank's next interest rate decision set for January 29th, when it is also set to publish its updated outlook for the economy and inflation. Stateside, FBI Director Christopher Wray says he plans to resign at the end of President Joe Biden's term next month.
Chris Wray's announcement is not unexpected, given President-elect Trump has said he intends to nominate loyalist Kash Patel to head the FBI. Trump had named Wray to a 10-year term in 2017 after firing Jim Comey, but he has lashed out at Wray multiple times since. Wray now tells the Bureau's workforce he will step down after weeks of careful thought. Sagar Magani, Washington.
The gun found on the suspect in the killing of the United Healthcare CEO matches shell casings found at the scene.
We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
New York City's Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch made the announcement.
We were also able at our crime lab to match the person of interest's fingerprints with fingerprints that we found on both the water bottle and the Kind bar near the scene of the homicide in Midtown.
Police had said earlier that they believe the gunman bought the items at a nearby coffee shop while waiting for his target. Mangione is jailed in Pennsylvania on weapon and forgery charges, but he's also been charged with murder in Brian Thompson's death. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Well, the countdown to Christmas is on, and for many, it's actually the most anxious time of the year, not the most wonderful. Our Shilpa Downton is here with some tips to get you through the holidays.
According to Lisa McIsaac with the Calgary Counseling Center, managing expectations can feel crushing for some people at this time of year.
I like to remind people to simplify, set their own priorities, ask themselves, like, what's important to me? How can I get through this holiday season and make my life more manageable? So what's realistic for me?
Pressures around social gatherings, strained finances, and striving for perfection can escalate levels of anxiety. And McIsaac says it's important to know your limits, practice self-care, and set boundaries. She says it's okay to give yourself permission to decline events or activities that are triggering. I'm Shilpa Downton.
Christmas news
25 minutes past the hour
on 1130 News Radio Vancouver.
1130 News Radio All Christmas News is brought to you by Barkbusters, a better way to better a dog. Visit barkbusters.ca.
Every month, more than 15,000 people rely on the Greater Vancouver Food Bank.
December 13th, join virtually starting at 6 a.m. for Food Bank Friday.
To help raise funds for the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. The more money raised, the more donations are matched.
Up to $75,000.
Donate today at vancouver.citynews.ca/events.
In partnership with BC Unclaimed, reuniting unclaimed money with rightful owners. bcunclaimed.ca.
Proudly supported by 1130 News Radio Vancouver.
And now the 1130 News Radio Market Minute with Chris McCusker.
Shares in Meta today hit an all-time high. That stock up by more than 2%, going as high as $638.40, higher by 78% this year, even as the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp reported a technical issue impacting some users' access. Now, Wall Street finished the day mixed. The Nasdaq hit a record high. It moved above 20,000 for the first time, and it closed above that mark, up by 347. The S&P up by 49. The Dow went the other way. It was down 99. The Bank of Canada cutting interest rates by 50 basis points for a second straight meeting, but that's likely it for the half-point cuts. And that is a change. Jules Boudreau is senior economist at Mackenzie Investments.
It says something like, we'll evaluate the need for further cuts as data comes out, which is, in my view, a huge change.
Markets are pricing in a pretty good chance that we see another quarter point cut in January. The Canadian dollar right now is higher by 0.1 cent, 70.61 cents U.S., while the TSX saw a rebound after 2 losing days. It was higher by 153 points, 25,657. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
A flexible circle of diamonds.
A flexible circle of diamonds that glitters and twinkles
and sparkles and shines, just like she does.
Give the woman you love a flexible circle of diamonds this Christmas.
Or give yourself one.
You've worked hard. You deserve it.
Some people call these flexible circles of diamonds tennis bracelets.
Michael, I'm pretty sure everyone calls them tennis bracelets.
But this magnificent bracelet isn't about tennis.
This magnificent bracelet is about the magnificent woman who wears it.
Even the bracelets with small diamonds are dazzling.
A 1-carat total weight tennis bracelet featuring star-born created diamonds is just $1,499.
Bracelets with even bigger diamonds are stunning.
And bracelets with diamonds bigger than those will make you look like a movie star.
You can wear a tennis bracelet with everything.
Or with nothing at all.
I can't believe you said that.
I'm sorry. When you said everything, the first word that popped into my mind was nothing.
Spence. Open late in Vancouver and Langley.
You can listen to 1130 News Radio on Seeker, Canada's new free app for live radio, podcast, news, and sports. Download Seeker from the App Store or Google Play today. Seeker, seek your sounds. Shrishti Gungdev produces the Afternoon Drive program. Terry Shintz is our news director. 1130 News Time, 5:30.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. It is Wednesday, December 11th. I'm Maria Benka.
I'm John Ackerman. Mainly clear, down to 2 degrees in Vancouver. Here's what's happening right now.
In the coming days, the federal government will unveil its new border plan to address tariff threats from incoming President Donald Trump. The announcement comes following a meeting between the Prime Minister and premiers.
A public hearing's been called to look at the actions of VPD officers involved in the 2015 death of Miles Gray. The BC Civil Liberties Association says it's hopeful this will lead to some accountability.
From home care to long-term care wait times, the BC Seniors Advocate says the province is backsliding on certain key senior services as the aging demographic increases.
And the iconic East Van Cross may be getting a new home as Vancouver City Council approves a motion to relocate the landmark.
Practice for the Canucks today. They've got the Panthers tomorrow. JT Miller, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. That's coming up in sports at 45.
The TSX jumps by more than 100 points. Back-to-back half-point cuts at the Bank of Canada. And the NASDAQ closes at an all-time high. Business at 56.
It's 5:31.
Now up to the 1130 News Radio Air Patrol with Darren Grieve.
That's the story of the afternoon as far as traffic goes. A broken down semi eastbound just after the Port Matt Bridge, so partway up Johnson Hill. The right through lane is blocked, and it has been since, before I even got up in the helicopter here. So volume super heavy all the way back across the Ironworkers, right up to Westview on the North Shore. And now, Alex Kerrigan.
Thank you very much, Darren. We are still seeing some delays as you work your way up to the Queensboro, but not as bad. 91 over at the Alice Fraser Bridge is almost fully recovered. Looking pretty awesome through the area east-west connector. A small delay merging off from number 6 road. That's about it. Northbound delay south end of the Massey Tunnel. Southbound is slow on 91 merging onto the 99 if you're working your way through Delta into the South Surrey. And watch out for some slowdowns on the Knight Street Bridge northbound south end. That's a better go than the Oak Street Bridge, though. It just stays busy through the whole thing. A lot of traffic on Oak Street southbound 49th all the way down to about 70th Avenue. Still some delays on Knight Street southbound 49th, also leading up to the north end of the bridge deck. And not to be forgotten is Granville southbound slow in front of 57th, opens up, and then congests again from 62nd down to the north end of the Arthur Lang. Anything else? Star 1130, pound 1130. Let me know what you're seeing out here. Traffic's by Brown Brothers Ford. Unwrap huge savings this December on electric and gas vehicles during Brown Brothers Ford's Holiday Savings Event, where holiday cheer meets unbeatable deals. We're in the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center with meteorologist Carl Lamb.
It's a relatively calm day across Metro Vancouver. Winds are around 20 kilometers per hour out of the east, but we could have some gustier conditions right by the water today. And temperatures max out at about 8 degrees. Tonight, with partly cloudy conditions, some of the heat escapes, so we'll drop down to about 2 degrees for an overnight low. Our daytime high temperature for today is 8.
And right now in Vancouver, mainly clear and 2 degrees. 1130 News Time, now 5:33.
Amid the tariff threats from incoming U.S. President Donald Trump, the federal government says it will soon be unveiling its plan to strengthen our border.
Our Cormac McSweeney reports that is the takeaway from a phone call between the Prime Minister and and the premiers this afternoon.
It's the second time the feds and provinces have met since the U.S. election, and there's progress on addressing concerns from President Trump. Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc gave premiers details of his border plan, which includes new helicopters, drones, and other resources.
And received positive feedback. We were encouraged by their desire to contribute provincial personnel, provincial assets.
The plan will be sent to the Trump team and released to the public in the coming days. Alberta's wasting no time and will soon announce its own border measures. President Trump is vowing a 25% tariff on Canadian goods if drugs and migrants don't stop crossing into the U.S. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland says premiers are also contributing to the list of retaliatory tariffs, including metals and critical minerals, if we don't get an exemption.
Canada needs to hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Meantime, Ontario Premier Doug Ford says his province might cut off energy exports to the U.S., along with putting together its own slate of retaliatory tariffs. Ford tells reporters he's operating on the assumption that the tariffs are not just a maybe at this point. He's expecting them to take effect as soon as Trump takes office next month. 11:30 News Radio has reached out to BC Premier David Evy's office for comment on whether the province is looking at a similar approach.
7 Vancouver police officers will face a public hearing held by BC's Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner over allegations of misconduct in the death of Miles Gray. 11:30 Shishti Gungdev reports the 33-year-old died in 2015 after police restrained him in response to a 911 call about a man acting erratically.
An external discipline hearing carried out by a different police department didn't find any misconduct from the 7 officers involved, but also acknowledged limitations in the process and inconsistencies in statements provided by members with no ability to cross-check them. Megan McDermott with the BC Civil Liberties Association says they had serious concerns with those findings at the time.
We were aghast. We were disappointed. The story of Miles Gray's death has been, just a horror story that reverberates and continues to reverberate in the Lower Mainland.
She says they're also concerned about how many other cases have similar problems with inconsistent evidence. She says all police misconduct hearings should be done publicly to ensure some level of accountability. Dates for the new hearing have not been set yet, but it will be open to the public, and Gray's family and other parties might participate. I'm Srishti Gungdev. A 30-year-old man has been charged after a triple stabbing in New Westminster. It happened in late October at the Starlight Casino after 2 groups of people sitting on a restaurant patio got into an argument. The new SPD says the 3 victims were treated for serious injuries. Parmveer Singh Sahota is now facing 3 counts of aggravated assault. He's due back in court next week.
11:30 news time, 5:36, mainly clear and just 2 degrees here in Vancouver. Seniors in BC are having a harder time accessing elder care, health care, and other supports, according to an advocate's report.
BC Seniors Advocate Dan Levitt says the population is aging faster than the province can expand services. One glaring issue is long-term care, which saw a 150% jump in wait times over the past 5 years. Levitt says people are admitted into long-term care 2.5 times faster from the hospital than from the community. That's put strain on BC's already overwhelmed healthcare system. Another priority, he points to, is home care. Levitt says aging in place is ideal for individuals and institutions, but seniors often need assistance with activities of daily living. The issue is home care is expensive to pay out of pocket. Levitt points to a simple but costly solution.
Yes, we're saying don't charge for it.
I'm Michelle Meikle-John.
Expect some spirited debate at Vancouver City Hall regarding the Broadway plan. Council has moved discussions on the plan to the tail end of the meeting in order to accommodate the long line of speakers, many of whom want the plan to be paused. Housing Minister Ravi Kahlon says public consultation is important, but he also suggests it skews against development, partially because those who would be more likely to support new housing are less likely to have time to attend council meetings. He says he supports the plan as long as it keeps renters and affordability in mind.
Vancouver did have some of the strongest renter protections that I've seen, certainly in British Columbia, maybe even across the country, for the Broadway line plan. Those elements are important to stay in the plan as it moves forward.
There are about 139 development projects currently in motion as part of the plan.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims' motion to make the city more Bitcoin friendly has passed. He wants Vancouver to accept taxes and other fees in cryptocurrency and to consider converting a portion of Vancouver's financial reserves into Bitcoin. Sim was so excited about the idea, he announced he would donate $10,000 in cryptocurrency to the city It's a gift.
This is going to be a gift to the city that we love. We totally believe in the benefits of this, and we're putting our money where our mouth is.
Some councillors had raised concerns about money laundering, environmental impacts, and volatility.
The iconic East Van Cross near 6th and Clark may be getting a new home. Vancouver City Council approved a motion today to move the landmark to a more vibrant and accessible location. ABC councillor Mike Klassen put forward the motion.
Ken Lum, when he originally created the piece, probably couldn't have predicted how important this art has become.
Klassen says the cross will remain in East Van. However, he wants to create a location for it when locals and tourists can better enjoy it. Still to come, the 11:30 News Radio Border Report.
It's 5:39.
Your trusted news.
11:30 News Radio Vancouver.
James Carter here. What's better than a GMC Sierra or a Chevy Silverado? A more powerful 2023 GMC Sierra or Chevy Silverado that delivers amazing fuel economy. And before you say, yeah, James, and while you're at it, I'll take a flying unicorn, consider GM's new 310 horsepower, high-torque, 2.7-liter high-output engine. The engine that lets you have your truck and drive it too. From Carter GM.
In Burnaby and in North Vancouver.
Border Report, brought to you by Pacific Blue Cross Travel Insurance. Buy a travel plan and your kids are covered free at pacificbluecross.ca.
And with the 11:30 News Radio Pacific Blue Cross Border Report with Alex Kerrigan.
There's not too much going on for the border as of right now. It's a 5-minute wait southbound at Peace Arch, back Alder Grove and Sumas. So you got your pick of the litter working your way south right now. Northbound times also reflect that. It's a less than 5-minute wait across the board. Just double checking because, of course, commercial vehicles sometimes. Oh, nope, they are right in step. Less than 5 minutes for everyone. You can double check it at vancouver.citynews.ca/border.
And your traffic and weather is together next is 5:40.
This hour of City News is brought to you by Global Carpets and Hardwoods at Marine and Heather.
From right here in Canada to all four corners of the world, the good folks at Global Carpets and Hardwoods bring the best flooring from around the globe home to Vancouver. Global Carpets have all the top flooring brands in stock and ready to go. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, carpet, area rugs, and more. With speedy and professional installation available. Just head to the Globe at Marine and Heather or visit globalcarpets.ca.
Global Carpets and Hardwoods, the world at your feet.
Real Canadian Superstore is where it's at for great holiday savings. This week, get a free PC turkey for every $300 spent. Yep, your holiday dinner is on us. Plus, get Cook's ham for only $1.99 a pound. Find more legendary ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. Conditions apply. See flyer for details.
Don't miss the London Drugs Weekly Flyer. During the Canada Post disruption, you can still find London Drugs Weekly Flyer in store or online at londondrugs.com/flyer. That's londondrugs.com/flyer.
5:41 back up to the 11:30 News Radio Air Patrol. Any changes at the Port Mann Bridge, Darren Grieve?
No, unfortunately not, Maria. It's just an absolute nightmare. So Burnaby Lake stretch, avoid it if you can. The problem is actually on the Surrey side of the Port Mann Bridge, broken down semi in the right through lane, just partway up Johnson Hill. There is a mechanic on scene trying to get this fixed, but no luck just yet. So back all the way through to the Cassiar Tunnel, right across the Ironworkers, and all the way up to Westview. Biggest commute I've seen in a long time here. So avoid it if you can. And now Alex Kerrigan.
Thank you very much, Darren. We're seeing some delays over at the Ninth Street Bridge, northbound south end. We're seeing more delays for the Oak Street Bridge, northbound through the whole thing. It's looking quite heavy as well for the Massey Tunnel, northbound at the south end, looking a little slow. Alice Fraser Bridge, not the issue. Looking pretty dense at the Queensboro, 91-8 northbound, getting a good workout today. So is Marine Way eastbound, getting pushed back to about Burn Road. The Patella Bridge is being used as an alternate route away from the Port Mann. We're seeing some southbound delays on McBride, southbound on King George Boulevard, but that's, pardon me, that's a really good route to use to just cross that section of the Fraser River because it'll get you into Surrey. You need to get onto Highway 1. You can get onto it via 104th or a little further south by 96. It'll use the 176th on-ramp there. Anything else, give me a call about it at star 1130. Traffic is brought to you by JamPro, the leaders in commercial cleaning and janitorial. If your workplace demands a clean environment, contact JamPro for a free, no-obligation quote. Visit jampro.ca. We're heading over to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center now. Checking in with meteorologist Carl Lamb.
It's a relatively calm day across Metro Vancouver. Winds are around 20 kilometers per hour out of the east, but we could have some gustier conditions right by the water today. And temperatures max out at about 8 degrees. Tonight, with partly cloudy conditions, some of the heat escapes, so we'll drop down to about 2 degrees for an overnight low.
And right now we're at 5 degrees. Coming up next in sports with Marcus Fitzgerald. Marcus, good afternoon. We have 2 games on the NHL schedule today and a practice day for the Canucks.
Good afternoon to you, Maria. Yes, they did practice today. Yes, JT Miller was out there. Still don't totally know if he's going to play tomorrow against the Panthers. We'll get into that. More coming up in just a minute.
Get all your holiday gifts wrapped with love at Guildford Town Center. From December 1st to 24th, visit the All Wrapped Up gift wrapping station in Center Court, lower level. All proceeds benefit the Surrey Firefighters Charitable Society, supporting over 80 local initiatives. While you're there, treat yourself to a festive drink at the Sugar Shack by the Palm Cafe. Perfectly wrapped gifts and a cozy beverage, all for a great cause. Visit GuildfordTownCenter.com for more details.
Subaru dealers present the 2024 Solterra Test Drive, an all-electric vehicle that will surprise you. Feel the control of full-time symmetrical all-wheel drive, the power